Okay, so for this deep dive, you sent over some really powerful sources.
Get right to this core conflict in the U.S. legal system, don't they?
This huge gap between the law on the books, what we all think the courts are supposed to do,
And the law in action. What actually happens on the ground day to day.
and what's running it, according to these sources, isn't really the law itself.
No, not at all. It's this invisible set of unwritten rules. They call it the Courthouse omertà.
Omertà. I mean, that's a heavy word. That implies a code of silence.
It is, but it's not protecting criminal profits like in the mob. It's about protecting something else.
Protecting the system itself.
Exactly. It's efficiency. It's legitimacy. It's an unspoken agreement between professionals, judges, prosecutors, not to expose the dysfunction, to shield the system from the embarrassment of its own failures.
So if silence is the rule, why does everyone play along? There has to be some kind of, invisible pressure.
There is. And the sources explain this through what they call the courtroom work group theory.
The work group. So you're not talking about the lawyer and their client.
No, forget that relationship for a minute. The real career-sustaining relationship is between the prosecutor, the defense attorney, and the judge.
Their entire professional lives depend on getting along.
On cooperation, on following these, unwritten rules.
And the number one unwritten rule has to be just keep things moving.
Clear the docket. That is the goal. And it comes before the messy, time-consuming process of individualized justice.
And that need for speed gives rise to this really coercive tool they mentioned, the trial tax.
It's this implicit threat that if you, as the defendant, actually use your right to a trial and you lose,
you'll get a much harsher sentence.
A significantly harsher sentence than if you had just taken the plea. You're literally punished for making the system operate the way the Constitution says it should.
So that keeps the defendant quiet. How does this silence protect the other professionals, like the police?
Well, it extends into what the soapses call a blue cone of silence.
An extension of the blue wall of silence, but inside the court.
Right. Prosecutors almost never charge officers with perjury with testilling, because doing that would destabilize the whole system. It attacks the state's own case.
Okay, so this system clearly has a very rigid hierarchy of who gets to speak.
A hierarchy of voice, yeah. And at the very top, you have the judge and the prosecutor. The sources use these, really strong terms for them.
The capo and the architect?
The capo, the silent boss, is the judge. And the prosecutor is the architect, the one building the state's case. Their words basically become reality. They set the unwritten rules.
And at the absolute bottom of that hierarchy
are the defendants, especially in jurisdictions like Cook County, where they're labeled with this really derogatory term, mopes.
As if they're just subhuman problems to be processed.
Exactly. They are expected to be silent spectators in their own tragedy. And this silence, this omertà, it allows for some truly awful things to become normalized.
Like that chilling anecdote about the mentally ill defendant brought into court.
Wearing a garbage bag.
And nobody, not the judge, the lawyers, the bailiffs, nobody said a word. The collective silence made that degradation just normal.
And the only time the defendant is actually encouraged to speak
is during the plea deal.
Right. It's what the sources call a scripted submission. A ritual where you admit guilt, you validate the state's narrative, and only then can you exit the cage.
So when you pull back, what does this closed system mean for you, for the public, this exclusion of voices?
It creates something the sources call epistemic blindness.
Meaning the system literally can't see the truth anymore.
It loses the ability to. It becomes this closed loop, just processing its own fabricated reality, getting more and more detached from actual facts.
I think what you can take away from this is that the unwritten code of efficiency and silence often has more power than the Constitution itself.
Which leaves you with a really critical question to think about.
If those unwritten courthouse rules, silence, deference, speed, are more important than the written rights in the law,
does our court system actually protect justice? Or does it just protect the appearance of justice?